Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Black Mental Health is Black Health. I'm your host, Bronwyn, the Black Couch Therapist. And tonight, as always, I have an amazing guest because I only have amazing people on here. So, yes, she definitely makes the cut of amazing. But we always start out with some deep breathing, just a moment to allow you to decompress from the day, to have a few deep breaths and have that woosah moment. So we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth as I count slowly to 4. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. One more. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Just reminding you how important it is to just breathe, allow you to decompress. And maybe you had a stressful day and it gave you a moment of woosah. So, how was that breathing for you?
It was great. It helped me slow my heart rate down. Anytime I'm starting a meeting, it's a little bit exciting. So I feel a bit anxious. So taking that moment to take a couple of deep breaths to slow that heart rate down is always great.
Awesome. Well, I always ask my guests to tell us, who are you, and tell us something cool about yourself.
Well, my name is Dr. Tania White. I'm a native Fort Worth girl. Born and raised here, went off to college to Prairie View A&M University and was a part of the band. My kids went to PV, so PV runs deep in my blood. So I do still support them avidly. Love to travel. I just retired. I have served 31 years in education, from being an AP math teacher, high school counselor, an instructional coach, and an administrator. So my whole career has been based on helping others. So, fun fact about me: even though I delve deep in the work and I'm serious the majority of the time, I've pledged a couple of sororities, Tau Beta Sigma and Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And on both lines, I was known as the Joker
All right.
because I love to have fun, love to see others smile, and I love to do things that brings joy to my life and my family's life and those around me.
That is cool. And that fits with being that helping person because if you're helping, you also want to see people happy and smile. Amazing. So you work a lot in the wellness field, but you also work with humanoid robotics. Okay, what in the world is it? That just sounds a bit, I don't know, AI, new world, new. What is humanoid robotics? Tell us about it.
Well, thank you for asking. As I said before, I attended Prairie View A&M University. There, I majored in mechanical engineering technology. And from there, the first job I got was not a very good job. And so I meandered to teaching math and education. So I've always had a fascination with technology and math. And just throughout my years, I've been able to work with students on developing their math skills and their technology skills. And so during my later years in education, I became the administrator over an engineering robotics STEM program,
Hmm.
and where I was over math, science, engineering, computer science, and robotics. We had a competitive robotics team. So I was able to delve back into that technology love that I had. And
Hmm.
in doing so, I was afforded an opportunity to attend an AI conference in San Francisco. And from there, I was introduced to the Booster K1 humanoid robot that I knew would be a great insertion into the STEM programs here within the US. So that is now my platform. Wellness came in because, as I said before, I have been in education for 31 years, but throughout my career, I noticed that there were times in the year where I was not at my best. I was succumbed by stress, and at times I would have to take off. And so when I was working on my doctoral study, I changed my study to be the impacts of stress in education because I was curious to know, was it just me or did others have that impact on their bodies from the stress that we experience in education? And what I found was the stress, even though it's known as you're working with people and education, it's not really truly identified and dealt with. And so from that, I started my company, Educator Well Health, with the mission to help schools and various organizations develop and implement stress management programs. And now with the humanoid and with all of the budget cuts in education, I will be presenting at the CCRSM Leadership Summit the Booster K1 humanoid, but it will be presented as a wellness companion. So
So
I've gotten it
let me
to.
ask you this, because I want to kind of separate them a little bit
Okay.
so that we get an even deeper understanding of the humanoid robotics. What exactly does that look like? Is it a machine? What exactly is that?
Well, we use robots in our everyday life and we just really don't realize it. But a robot is just a machine that mainly works autonomously to help improve our lives in some way. So
Mhm.
think of the vacuum robot. Where you cut it on and it goes through and it cleans your floor without you
Mhm.
having to stand over and exert any energy. So that is considered a robot. It just doesn't have any eyes, it doesn't have any arms or legs, but it's a machine that operates in an efficient way to help us in our daily life. A humanoid robot is just a robot that's made in the form of a human, meaning it has our parts. It has a head, it has arms, it has legs, it has a torso, and so it stands as though it is a human, but it's still a machine. It still needs to be programmed, and it still requires some human interaction. And so, a humanoid robot, the reason why I think it's phenomenal to have it infused into our STEM programs is to really help our students not only identify how to work each of the parts, but to become competitive members within society and globally because all over the world they're developing these robots and they're becoming more and more robust, more and more user friendly, and so we've got to get our students at least accustomed to the form of it so they can to advance in that technology.
So are you dealing with helping students build robots or just understanding or all of the above?
I'm helping students. First of all, I want to expose them to what's out there.
Mhm.
So, being exposed to the humanoid robot is the first step. Because, as I said before, I've worked within the engineering programs and the robotics programs, and the curriculum within those programs teaches students the different components of a robot. And so they work on the innuendo boards and they work on the arms of a robot and they get that to work. They may work on a piece of the body or just some one moving part of the robot. But if you can think of the human body, our arms don't operate separately. Our legs don't operate separately. They operate in unison. So the humanoid gives students the opportunity to now program these bots to work in unison with each other, opposed to being in isolation. So that would be the significance of bringing a humanoid into the classroom to help them now develop more complex programming so all parts can work in unison and not just one.
Wow. So how did you even become involved with something like humanoid robotics? You started out as an engineer, you went into education, so you appreciate wellness, so you have a vast array of interests. Why and how humanoid robotics?
Well, it actually started off as a joke between me and my son.
Okay.
Um, I was very intentional with putting myself in spaces that I don't normally go in. So as an educator, we normally don't go in corporate spaces because that is not our realm. So I was intentional about choosing a conference that just wasn't educator focused. So I chose the AI conference, which was technology focused. And before I left, I was telling my son, hey, I'm going to find a robot and I'm going to dance with it and take a picture with it, you know. And so when I got on the plane, he sent me a message, hey, safe travels, and I hope you find your robot. So once I landed and started meeting individuals, you know, I started sharing, hey, before I leave, I want to see one of these robots I've been seeing on YouTube. And, you know, I want to know what it looks like, you know, in person.
Mhm.
And so I did find a company. They were demonstrating their robots, you know, the robot dog, and then you have robots of various sizes. And so, you know, I had them video me dancing with it. But once I finished the wow factor, because that's the wow factor of it,
Mhm.
once I finished that, I took a step back and I started looking at it. And it just dawned on me, you know, this is what our students need to be working on. This is our future.
Mhm.
You know, it no longer was something fun to do. I began to see the educational value in it. And because I saw that value, and in talking with the distributor of the company, they were just saying how difficult it was to, you know, break into education, which is true because you have a lot of politics involved, you know, a lot of budgeting, you know,
Mhm.
individuals have to believe in it. And so when you have individuals that may be afraid of this incoming technology, they're not going to be proponents to bring it to the
Right.
forefront. And so that became a challenge for me. You know, I'm already in this space. I like
Mhm.
what I see. I see the educational value. I see the cross curricular value in it. I
For
see
sure.
that it can be used in a multitude of ways, not just in engineering and robotics, but you can use it for positive reinforcement within the school. You know, maybe if
Mhm.
this group of students have done X, Y, and YZ this particular month, then they are the operators of this robot, and then they can utilize that opportunity for whatever it is that they choose to do. But I just saw so many uses for it to where I purchased one myself so I can come and show those around me, and hopefully they get as excited as I was when I first saw it.
Was this well received in the arena when you were working in education, bringing the humanoid robotics in?
Well, there definitely was a wow factor. Now, was
Mhm.
it as received as I thought it would be? No, it wasn't. But I also understand the politics behind it. You
Right.
know,
That's why I was wondering how that
yes,
might
yes, because
not be
again,
received.
there has to be buy-in on all levels.
Mhm.
And if there's not buy-in on all levels, then it's a no-go. Now, that's the frustrating part about education. It's not necessarily what's best for kids, but now you're trying to appease all those that are
Mhm.
involved in that decision making.
Right.
So it's slow going, but whenever I have an opportunity, I do present at various conferences and workshops to share the information. And I know it's just a matter of time before things catch on, and you begin seeing humanoid robots in STEM programs.
So, outside of the students, how are humanoid robots, going to be useful in the future? Just for the general population, how do you see them integrating into society?
Well, I know there have been several 60-minute specials about the development of humanoid robots, and you see them in factories to make factory working more
Mhm.
efficient. You're seeing it in mass productions, you're seeing it in military maneuvers and operations. I know that they're using autonomous robots. Even to fight this current war that we're in, because they're trying to save human life, so they'll put in machines in the place of it. So there are a multitude of ways that it's being infused within society. But those robots that we're seeing in the factories and that they're making to do these large scale operations, they're very big and massive. 200 or more pounds. And
Mhm.
so when you start thinking of that kind of metal within a school setting, it's not
Mhm.
feasible. So the reason why I was so intrigued by the robot that I'm sharing with the school population, it does weigh like a small child, maybe 46 pounds. but it's manageable. It's something that one person can pick up. There are safety precautions that you have to take no matter what machinery you use within the industry or P-TECH programs. There's some safety that's involved in that, but it's small enough and can be manipulated around children in a safe manner to where they can still learn how it works and how to advance it. So when they do get out into these corporations that are already using the larger ones, they're not in the dark. They already know how they operate, but now it's just a larger machine. So
And
it's
you won't be intimidated by them.
right.
There was a recent news story that it would be a humanoid robot that was on an airplane, and that particular airlines has banned them from their airlines for unknown safety reasons. But it was walking down the aisle, and of course, everyone was oohing and ahhing. And the camera caught the stewardess saying, "I don't know what to do with this," you know. So yeah, they're here to stay, and I'm sure we'll see, the pros and cons, and we'll see people you don't know when it's something new. People are back up, and so, okay, we can't do that, and that might be part of the response of the airline that cannot come on there.
And just to piggyback on that, I've had my robot now for about 4 months in my possession, but unless I'm presenting, I don't just walk around with it. Whereas some individuals just purchase it because it's neat and they want to show it off. Well, as I said before, it weighs like a small child. So when you start thinking about traveling with it, then yes, it needs to go on top of the plane and not underneath because of the weight. You will always have to separate the battery. Even when they ship it to you, the battery comes separate from the actual robot. But when you put it all together, it is substantial weight. But it's just a matter of society getting accustomed to it. The wondering would be, why are you traveling with the robot? If unless you are traveling to a show or something, but just to have it as a companion, that would be something that is questionable. The type of wellness companion I'm talking about is something that can walk up and down the hall, be a wellness checker, just to check on individuals, kind of like having an animal, a small animal. Just the joy of that.
Jump into that whole wellness. I know wellness is the other thing you're so passionate about. So connecting the wellness companion, tell us how that works.
Well, as I said before, in education, there have been so many budget cuts. So we no longer have an intervention specialist, which was someone that was like a wellness checker on campus. Someone that students that were experiencing anxiety could go to, and even teachers as well. But a wellness companion, in my vision of it, is someone that can actually check on you. And it is voice activated. It's no different than someone sitting down in front of their computer talking to ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. But instead, it's in the form of a humanoid. And you can program it to track, your movements, so it seems more personable. But again, I related to having a small pet or even any kind of pet animal. Animals do bring you joy. Just the touch of it and the interaction from the animal brings you joy and a sense of calm. And so a wellness companion in a robot, if, just seeing it walk to you, just seeing it actually interact. Hi, Brown. How are you? My name is Tanioid. What is your name? Would you like to know the wellness tip for today? And it's actually giving you tips that you can use, and it'll practice with you and then can come back and check on you. And then you can program it deeper to have conversations and have triggers to where if something is too troubling, then, it'll trigger, I'll refer you to Dr. White, or I'll make sure Dr. White knows and can come check on you, things of that nature.
So are you programming this yourself?
Actually, I'm working with someone that programmed Tanioid to talk on in our presentation tomorrow, just to demonstrate what the capability is. But the idea would be to have students within the computer science classes or within the engineering and robotics classes to kind of map out a plan. What is it that you would like for the robot to do? And then once they come up with that plan, then flesh out the roadmap to get there. What is it that they will say? What movements will you put with it? What does that coding look like?
Okay.
How do you work with it?
You've been talking about wellness. How did you, and you did state that, you noticed in your dissertation, rather, you talked about the times of the school year where, professionals in that arena are more stressed. And I worked in the school system for about 17 to 20 years. And so I do understand that it ebbs and flows. So that led you into wellness. What are you doing other than the robot, which is major? What other things are you doing in the wellness arena?
Well, I am hosting organizational wellness conferences where I am bringing a host of professionals together to share wellness to educators or anyone within an organization that's leading individuals. Mental health and wellness is very big. So I have an upcoming conference next month that will emphasize mental wellness as well as physical wellness, emotional wellness. There will be some sound therapy, some massage therapy, various vendors that are there to promote healthy eating and just healthy habits overall. But the Organizational Wellness Conference is a movement that I'm desiring to have that will occur annually to help organizations develop and implement stress management programs. We can't just tell our employees, hey, you need to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you need to go exercise. We need to actually provide them with tools and strategies and then infuse that within the workday so individuals can truly catch on and be effective in handling their wellness.
Awesome. Where is this going to be? Where is the conference going to be held? Give us the details.
Okay.
And I'll make sure it appears in the chat.
Okay.
There, but let's go on and tell us the details.
All right. Well, the Organizational Wellness Conference will occur July 9th through 11th here in Fort Worth, Texas, at the Radisson Fossil Creek. And it begins at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning and will end at noon on Saturday. However, if you can only make 1 day or 2 days, we encourage you to come on out because the programming is great. We have presenters coming from Missouri, Chicago, California, Houston, to come pour into our citizens here in Fort Worth and in the Metroplex to help them not only strengthen themselves mentally, emotionally, but help them develop a plan for them to take back to their organizations so they can have a successful, if it's a school, a successful 26-27 school year. If it's a leadership organization in management, they can have a plan to take back to their employees to help their employees manage their stress. So July 9th through 11th.
So that sounds like your takeaway, that they can take something, to their organization. What personal takeaway would you like participants to go away with?
Well, a personal takeaway is being refreshed. It's going to be an opportunity for individuals to refresh themselves. I know, being a longtime educator, I've attended many, many conferences where I was inundated with so much knowledge to where I was so full of knowledge, so full to where I didn't use any of it. So this is going to be a very practical conference where it not only enriches yourself, but then you have at least 2 or 3 takeaways to take back to your organization and some things that you can implement within your own life so you can remain healthy and manage your stress. I won't say stress-free because we actually thrive on stress. There are 2 different kinds of stress. You have your eustress and your de-stress. So we need stress within our lives, but we need to know how to manage it appropriately.
Awesome. How can someone register and how much is the conference? Any registration specials?
Of course, there are registration
About it.
specials.
What are specials?
Just by acknowledging that you watched this particular video, you can put in the code TT. What is it? Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night.
No, the show is Black Mental Health is Black Health.
Okay, Black Wellness.
BMHIBH.
Okay, all right. So we'll get that code together. But because I have sponsorships, the first 20 will come absolutely free. The normal price is $9.49. That includes 5 meals in all. Let me see, breakfast and lunch on Thursday, breakfast and lunch on Friday, and then breakfast and a snack on Saturday. So 5.5 meals, awesome. Plus all of the programming, access to wonderful vendors, sound therapy, massage therapy, and many, many other things.
Amazing. That is wonderful. We'll make sure all of that, if you're watching this on Facebook, you'll have a chance to see it in the comment section. And if someone wanted to visit your website or, go in, what would that be?
It would be the https://organizationalwellness.life.
Organizationalwellness.life.
Or they can just look up my name, drtaniarwhite.com, and I'll have a link on that website as well.
Okay, drtaniarwhite.com or organizationalwellness.life. I wanted to repeat it again just because if they're not seeing this on Facebook, you won't have a comment section or you might not be able to see it. So I wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to get that information because it sounds like a wonderful opportunity for everyone or anyone. It's right here in Fort Worth. So for those in the DFW area, not too far. What final thing would you like to say? About wellness, about robots, about you, about anything. What's your final comment?
One final thing I would like to say is that my passion in life is to help as many people as I possibly can. God has afforded me with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and I'm at the point in life where I want to share. Mm-hmm. So please take advantage of this opportunity to get all that you can to improve your life. I've been tremendously blessed, and I would like to be a blessing to others.
Awesome. Well, we always end the show with a call to action, and that call to action is something I request you to do as a result of seeing the show. So tonight's call to action is this: practice wellness, number one. If you don't know what that is, we've had several shows on it. Look it up. But it's about, one of the things is about taking care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. Another thing is check out this conference. Be one of the first 20. We'll have a chance. Go to her website. The information will be there. And we always end with vote, vote, vote. Be an educated voter. How you vote impacts every aspect of your life. Don't just vote in what we say are the big elections. There's midterms coming up. We'll be doing more shows on voting, but vote, 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 and take care of yourself. Well, Dr. White, I want to say a big thank you for coming on. It was enlightening. These robots, I just think they're interesting. The last thing I'll say, I have a group of friends and we joke. Back in the day, I'm pretty old, there was a cartoon, The Jetsons. And the Jetsons had a maid, Rosie. Rosie's a robot. And we all say, and Rosie had attitude, right? So we all say, we want a Rosie in our life. And now, it's becoming more and more popular, more and more of an option to be able to have a robotic maid. So who knows? We might have our own Rosie one day.
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say, and individuals can follow me on LinkedIn, and I will be posting the Tanioid Wellness Companion as we present at the conference, so you can actually see us in action. We'll be matching.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing that. Well, thank you so much. And Wow, that was awesome. And I
Thank
will
you.
see my viewers next week.